This is PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Trevis tested waters, help you swim even if feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Trevis tested waters, help you swim even if feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you eat.
Hey guys, it's me Trevis with PlayerProps.ai. This is what we're targeting for Week 7 for NFL Survivor. Now, if you've listened to every single thing that I've told you since Week 1, congratulations, you are still alive in your Survivor pool. Whether it's one that you're doing with family and friends, coworkers, something that one of the sports books or the fantasy apps are doing, or in this one, which you see in the top left, it says Circa Survivor 2025, which, as you see right above my head, pays out $18.7 million to the last survivor. We have already filtered out the first 6 weeks, which you see here on the screen. It starts at week 7. We've also filtered out the 6 teams that we've picked. Now, on the show episode last week, I mentioned, so we record this on Monday. I'm actually recording this before the 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. And then I mentioned there's 2 teams that we need more information from leading up to deciding which one we're going to be rolling with. Even though I put Chargers as the thumbnail, I was also talking about Pittsburgh being interesting versus the Browns. But after back and forth in the Discord, I ultimately decided that we're going with the Chargers. I was freaking out in the Chargers-Dolphins fourth quarter. So, I don't think that I looked into the injury list for the Chargers and realized how many people were out, because I would 100% have went with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the fact that I was negligent to check the injury report and still went with the Chargers not in spite of, because I wasn't checking it, I think it worked out in our favor. Now, when the Dolphins went up with their fourth quarter touchdown, or before on the drive of them, as soon as it was fourth down for the Chargers and we knew we were in the punt formation, I did a hedge bet for Dolphins money line. It was at plus 375 at that time. So if the Dolphins, which would be the worst team to knock me out, because of course that is my team, and we're all but eliminated from the playoffs, so the worst thing they can do at this point is to win the game where I don't want them to win. But yeah, it was quite fine eating that hedge, knowing that I'm still alive for the $18.7 million contest. There was no bloodbath, so week 5, we definitely had a bloodbath. A lot of the top teams lost. This was the first week where we saw like 50-something% ownership on Packers over Bengals, and Bengals were starting their quarterback, Joe Flacco. They just traded for like 2 seconds before the game started. So I was like, how much of the playbook is he going to know? This is probably the easiest pick, but we did mention that Green Bay, which you see here on the screen, is one of our Turkey Day games. So remember, in the Circa Survivor, you have to pick a game in between week 12 and week 13 on Turkey Day, Thanksgiving Day, and you have to pick a team on Christmas Day in between your week 16 and week 17 picks. So the goal is we're trying to save as much of these picks as possible, because we don't know. Maybe by Thanksgiving, there could be injuries to Detroit where Green Bay becomes a pick that makes sense. Even though it more likely is going to be Kansas City or Philly, because those are the -8 and -5 favorites. But long story short, the Bengals almost pulled it off. They were down by 6 points in the fourth quarter. They allowed Green Bay to get a field goal to go up 9, and then it was kind of game over after that. But if they essentially blocked the field goal and went for a touchdown and just a 1 extra point, they could have had one of the probably the biggest upset we've ever seen in ownership-wise in Survivor, because literally half of the pool went with Green Bay. But what does that mean? That means that Green Bay, they cannot choose Green Bay for Thanksgiving or the rest of the season. Green Bay, which you see here on the far right, has a FSV of -78. I've been teaching you guys on this so this site is survivoratlas.com. It starts off, I think like every year they start off free at the beginning, and then as the weeks wind down, it costs more and more and more. So if you don't decide to sign up until like week 18, which is technically week 20 because there's 2 other picks, then it's going to cost you a lot more. So I always recommend signing up for it as soon as possible. If you're in a pick'em or if you're in a Survivor League that you are serious about winning, even if it's only for maybe like $100 or just a lot of bragging rights with you and your friends, definitely get the full season pass, because again, it's very smart on their end that they increase the price every week, because if you survive to the next week, then it's more important for you to put more research into it as the weeks go on. If you want to, you can go to Circa Survivor. Not Circa Survivor. You can go to survivoratlas.com, and the promo code is PlayerProps, just the same promo code we use for Wanna Parlay and everything else. And that'll save you, I don't know if I think it's like 20%. But again, if you don't get it now for week 7, you're going to be paying more for it in week 8 and then more for it in week 9. I got mine as soon as the season started, or I think like maybe week 2. So I got kind of the best deal possible. But again, if you're taking it seriously, just use PlayerProps as the promo code, and that'll give you a little bit of discount. But anyway, so the only thing that hasn't been updated, it looks like for this week, is the availability, because it says that 99% of people have Green Bay, but we already know from the image we shared in the NFL Survivor channel and Discord that Green Bay, it was like 50% owned. And I swear, man, I might have bought a Joe Flacco Bengals jersey if he would have knocked out Green Bay. He almost did. He did. They covered the spread. It was a lot closer than people thought it was going to be. But all that jibber jabber aside, we're going to target what we're looking for week 7. So what we do is we're going to sort by the favorite. Now remember, FSV, this value here, the better the number next to the negative symbol, the more important it is for you to keep it in your back pocket for later on in the season. The lower the number, the more likely it is you can use it sooner than later. And then if it's a positive number, you can use it as soon as you want to. This is a new value that popped up here that I have to see here. So it's FS. So yeah, this is the first time we've seen something called FWS. And it says it stands for future win shares. The sum of a team's win shares across all future weeks used on the map to show a team's overall win share value. I don't know. I think the future spread value is what we're paying attention to. Yeah, I don't really. This metric isn't something that I'm going to add into my research. I just saw it pop on the screen, so I wanted to see what it was. But no, the future spread value is the most important, because it tells you if you want to keep it in your back pocket or not. So when we're sorting by, you see on the left, when you click week 7, it sorts by the spreads. These are only the teams that we have left available. All of the teams that we've already chosen on this show, week 1 to 6, are not being shown here, so it doesn't screw with our planning. Kansas, so if we don't even focus on anything in this graph, but over here, minus 55, I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. Minus 30, I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. Minus 78, back pocket. Then we get to a minus 6. Hold on. Oh, I was like, didn't Pittsburgh just first Cincinnati? I'm like, no, it was Green Bay. Seeing Green Bay and Pittsburgh right on top of each other in Cincinnati here, I was like, wait, are we on the right week? Yeah. So Green Bay just beat Cincinnati. Now Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati, who's going to be starting Joe Flacco again, but he's going to have 7 more days of learning the playbook. They're currently a minus 5.5 favorite, and they're at Cincinnati. The biggest game for them, or the biggest spread for them, is when they're at home against Cincinnati, minus 8.5. But I don't know if like Joe Burrow is going to be back from his surgery this time. They also have Dolphins minus 6. So those would be the only 2 other games we'd consider them for. Cincinnati at home, and then Miami at home. Their future spread value is minus 6. One more down, we go to Chicago over the Saints. They're the only positive FSV for a team that is favored by a field goal or more. Everything else, field goal or more, which what starts here with the Rams, minus 50 to minus 55. They're the only one positive. So by our normal metrics, this would be the best game to target them in. They're a minus 5.5 favorite over New Orleans. They're at home in Chicago. There is no other game this season where they are this favored, which is kind of what the plus 21 FSV future spread value is saying. The Giants at home, minus 4. Cleveland at home, minus 4. And then essentially mostly an underdog for the rest of the season. But the question that we have to ask ourselves, we made it to week 7, ladies and gentlemen. Is that enough to trust the Chicago Bears with Caleb Williams? So tonight, I mentioned this in the beginning. Tonight, the Bears play. What is the game? There's two NFL games tonight. The Bears and Commanders. So Washington is minus 5.5. I'd say if the Bears cover the spread or win outright, I think that's enough to tell us that we can target them over the Saints. But if Washington completely embarrasses the Bears, I don't think this is going to be minus 5.5 by the time week 6 concludes. So if they get embarrassed tonight by the Commanders, who would be the next best pick? We typically always want to pick a team that's favored by a field goal or more. Eventually it's going to get to a point where, when we're 20 weeks in, or 20 picks in at week 18, chances are we're not going to have teams that are favored by over a field goal. But we want to play strategically. We're not playing to simply survive to week 8. We're playing to win $18.7 million. So we're playing as if we are going to be in week 18, and we do have to pick a pick for this, which is how you should be strategically planning your picks for all of NFL Survivor, not just what's the best pick for this week, because you're going to get to a point where the only picks you have left are going to be like Jets over Buffalo, Carolina over Tampa Bay, Tennessee over Jacksonville. You're going to have a lot of crappy picks, and you're going to have to cross your fingers and toes for an upset in order to win anything. So back to week 7. This Detroit minus 5.5 over Tampa Bay, I feel like that's going to update as well. Tampa Bay had almost nobody on offense alive except for Baker Mayfield, and they still covered the spread and won. Is there anybody else that I would consider here? Cleveland versus Miami is a mess. Cleveland favored by minus 2.5. Like, Miami is just... They're just so weird and bad this season. Yeah, the only ones that I would consider this week, I think would just be these two. Pittsburgh over Cincinnati or Chicago over New Orleans. I would lean Chicago, but again, I'm recording this roughly at 4 p.m., like 4 hours before they play the Commanders. If they handle business, if nobody gets hurt and the team does well, there's no injuries, and they cover the spread. If they outright upset Washington, then this is going to be the de facto pick that probably most people are going to be going with for week 7. But it all depends on how they fare. If they get embarrassed by the Commanders, we're probably going to be going Pittsburgh over Cincinnati, even with Joe Flacco there. Because the reason why we'd be leaning Chicago, granted, it depends on their performance tonight, is that Pittsburgh is a nice target for 2 more weeks. Cincinnati at home, Miami at home. That's why they have that little -6 feature spread value. Chicago will never be this favored. The next best favorite is the -4 Giants at home, -4 Cleveland at home. So we get kind of a nice matchup here, but this is what we're doing. We're leaning Chicago depending on their performance tonight. I would love to see them upset, but if it's a close game where they still lose by a field goal, and the spread right now looks like it's Washington -5.5, upsetting would be nice, would be a no-brainer, but I would still consider them if they just lose by a field goal and cover the spread. But follow up with me in the Discord and the NFL Survivor channel, and we'll let you know before lock on Friday night. We're not going to do anything Thursday Night Football, but that being said, I don't even know if these are Thursday Night Football games. Hey, good thing that I subconsciously thought that and said that out loud, because Pittsburgh and Cincinnati is the Thursday Night Football game this week. So I will let you guys know in the Discord, in the NFL Survivor channel, if we're going with Pittsburgh Thursday Night Football, because that doesn't give Joe Flacco an extra week of research. Researching the playbook, it only gives him an extra, 3 or 4 days. So, yeah, Chicago's what we lean, but if Chicago gets embarrassed tonight, we're going to do Pittsburgh Thursday Night Football. Lock it in, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're doing. Any questions at all, let me know. If you're not in the Discord, then you should not be betting on sports, because that is how you win more often. The amount of people that say they want to win more and lose less, and they get the app, but they never join the 18,000 members in Discord. You have to do what's required to be successful. And what's required to be successful is you following the guidelines of the stuff that costs you $0. It costs you $0 to download the PlayerProps.ai app. It costs you $0 to create a free PlayerProps.ai account. It costs you $0 to click the subscribe button on this YouTube channel where we drop bangers and golden nuggets of knowledge on you every single day on YouTube. So that's 3. It costs you $0 to join the free community Discord. And then for the people who are like, but where's the channels at? There's a channel in the community Discord that's called Unlock Free Access. Guess what is detailed in that channel? How to unlock free access. Believe it or not, you go to your PlayerProps.ai profile on the app. Go to your profile on my app I created for you. There's a big blue button that's going to stare you smack in the face. It says Connect Discord on it. You tap that button, you log into your Discord. Guess what? All the free channels are going to open up for you. It's that easy. Good luck, guys. We'll see you in the Discord. And yeah, that's what we're doing for week 7. See you.